Happy Sabbath, everyone. Happy Sabbath. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Remember to like, share, comment. Yes. Acceptance and rejection. Lesson 2. So I'm reading from my Sabbath School Quarterly. Lesson 2 described the feeding of the 5,000 in John 6, but did not cover the final section of that story which is studied here. Read John 6 verses 51 to 71. What did Jesus say that people had trouble at accepting? Having just been fed miraculously by Jesus, the people were ready to crown him king. John 6 verses 1 to 15. But in talking with them later at the synagogue, he explained the spiritual meaning of miracles, saying, I am the bread of life. John 6:35. He expounded in more details that this bread is his flesh, which he gives for the life of the world. John 6:51. This saying opened the eyes of the multitude to the fact that Jesus would not be their earthly king. He did not fit the mold product by earthly thinking. They refused conversation which would transform the way they thought so that they could recognize and accept Jesus as the Messiah. Many of his disciples left him, and at this point, John 6 verse 66. From a human sense, this must have been hard for Jesus. The approbation of the crowd is pleasing. Who doesn't want to be like? But seeing more people draw back and questioning one's principles is naturally discouraging as well. Seeing the multitude depart, Jesus asked his inner circle, the 12, if they want to leave too. This is when Peter makes his amazing confession, another witness as to both what Jesus has and who he is. You have the words of eternal life. We have believed and have come to know that you are the only one of God. John 6, 68, 69. The disciples has been with Jesus for a couple of years, traveling with him, seeing his miracles, hearing his sermon. They knew from experience that there is no one comparable to him. The conviction settled upon them that however unusual some situations might be, this man was the Messiah. Regardless of how much they still didn't understand about his purpose for coming, only after his death and resurrection did they start to understand why Jesus came. What can we learn from this story about the fact that majority is usually wrong? Why must we remember this, especially with the aspects of our faith that are unpopular with majority, even the majority of Christians? Okay, so but then now, while Jesus was here, did you know that Jesus have 70 disciples? Yes, 70 disciples, but they were there just for, like Jesus, they would think Jesus was going to be the earthly king, so they were there now to get place for one to be on the right, one to be on the left, one to be counselor, one to be this, position. They were there for position. Okay, so when they find out that Jesus was not going to be the earthly king, they walked away. They just walked away. So Jesus turned to the 12 and asked them if they too want to leave. But the 12 didn't go. They stay with Jesus. But they too did not really understand the purpose of Jesus here on earth. Although they were with him, walking with him, talking with him, and every day explain his situation to them, why he was here, what he came for, and he will not be with them forever. But they still did not understand. They were still looking at he's gonna build a earthly kingdom here and he's gonna be a king. here reigning on earth. They did not get the full understanding of the purpose of Jesus here on earth. So it was after Jesus died on the cross and resurrected that they really understand what he was talking about. That he was going to die for 3 days and we're going to die and the third day will rise again. They didn't register that into their brain to know that, well, Jesus is going to die. They wasn't looking at him that someone could really kill him or anything like that. So when he was telling them, they did not fully get the understanding of what he was talking about. After the resurrection, now they realized that when he was saying, destroy this temple and in 3 days I will raise it up back again, you know. That's why the scribes and the Pharisees were so hungry when he said, I will tear down this temple and rebuild it back in 3 days. They were saying, look how many years it took the rest of people to build it, and how comes he's gonna tear it down and in 3 days build it up back. You understand? So they hated him for saying that, but he was just talking about his temple, his body, but they did not understand. Okay, so because the other disciples, it was 70, so 12 stay with Jesus. The rest turn away because they find out that no, sir, this man is not gonna have any kingdom here on earth, so why should we stay around? There's no position for us with him. And you know, they kind of know, but I believe in Jesus anymore. They walk away. In the lesson it said they understand Jesus must be very hurt. Yes, a lot of time he feel hurt and rejected because they were saying when he was back into his own community preaching and teaching, some common passing remarks, is not this Joseph and Mary's son, the carpenter's son? Like say he's not qualified to preach to them or to heal or to perform any miracle, because it was just a little poor boy, Mary and Joseph's son, right around the corner there. You know, can any good things come out of Nazareth? Jesus was there, yes. So Jesus grew up in a poor humble home, just to set examples for us to know that whether we are rich or whether we are poor, we must just humble ourselves. And if we are poor, humble ourselves and don't worry and don't fuss over anything, because he could have lived in the biggest palace, but he didn't own a home. He didn't have anywhere to lay his head. He go places up and down, preaching, teaching, and anywhere did not catch him in sleep there. Didn't have a house for himself here on earth. You understand? So that's why the scribes and the Pharisees, they rejected him, because they were saying God's son couldn't be so poor. They were looking differently. Until now, many Jews don't accept Jesus because they said God's son would not come born into a stable and growing up so poor is not the Messiah. So in some Jews' home, you cannot say the word Jesus. My niece used to work with some of them. Yes, they kept the Sabbath and everything, but they don't believe in Jesus. She was singing a song with Jesus naming it, and the little daughter catch it and was singing one day, and the mother was very hungry, and she came up from work and heard the little girl sing and saying Jesus. She said, stop it, and then she tell my niece, said, don't sing any song with that name in this house anymore and let my daughter, you know. So they didn't want to hear the name Jesus, but God promised to bless the Jews, and he did not take back his promise. Although they don't accept Jesus, God still blessed them. They are well blessed. Yeah, man, they have abundantly. The Jews have abundantly, because God promised to bless them more than any other nations. So yes, and this is what I want to come across now. See, in the election that was going on in America there with President Trump and the lady that was running with him, she rejected Jesus. She didn't want anybody to mention anything about Jesus in her campaign. When they were saying things about God, like say God such and such in the campaign, she said, no, go to the next rally. You're in the wrong place. Go to the other rally that talk about that man. Don't talk about that man here. So you see, she rejected Jesus. She rejected God. Donald Trump, on a different angle, accepted God and talk a lot about God, have prayer on his platform, pray and accept, and I even said he's gonna make back the Bibles and everything, go back into the classroom, in the schools and so on, telling about the goodness of God, that he have spared his life, because we know that something bad did happen to him there. God has spared his life, he accept. And don't care how the person perform and what kind of way the person is. Everyone can change if you wanted to change. So Donald Trump sees way and turn around and come back to God, and acknowledging that there is a God, and he win triumphantly. She loses because she said she don't want any God in her campaign. Understand? So she don't believe in God. So when we stand up for God, God stand up for us. So President Donald Trump stand up for Jesus. Jesus stand up for him and let him win. She didn't want any Jesus in her life, so she could never be that president because she would not lead the country. She would lead them astray. So God chose the right person who believe in him and will lead the people in the right direction. And although the crowd was there with her and so on and so forth, from she rejected God, many will turn away. Cause from you don't want a president who rejected God. What will happen in the world then? If you gonna run your country and not put God first and not believe in God, how are you gonna run the country? So she rejected God, and the people then rejected her because they know that God is the head of everything. And in everything we do or say, we have to put God first, right? So she pushed God in the back and rejected him. Donald Trump put God in the front and accepted him, and he become a winner. He becomes a winner. He was triumph, and she loses. So let us look back in ourselves and see. Sometimes we rejected God. Sometimes we know we must not do certain things and we go and do it. So that's it. We rejected him. We refused to obey him. And then when things happen, we turn around and said, where was God? Why did God make this happen? Why did he allow it to happen? Yet we refuse to listen to his still small voice. When he was saying, don't go there, don't do that, don't say that, we go up and do what he said we shouldn't do. And when things happen now, we said, where was God? Oh, God said we will never leave us nor forsake us, and yet he made this happen. God did not let anything happen to us because of our stiff-necked and our hard ears. Things happen because we didn't listen. And sometimes he put us through some tests, terrible tests, to see how we would react, and if we would walk away, I would stay with him, I would forsake him and go our way and do other things. We have to go through tests to have testimonies. So sometimes we go through our crucibles. God is testing us to see how much we love and care for him. Because sometimes when someone really caring for you or doing something, you recognize that person. So that with God, sometimes people don't recognize because he can bless them and give them things, but the moment he take away back the things them from them, they forget that there's a God. So that's how God is teaching us sometimes. He's testing us to see what we will do if he take away our blessings from us, like Job. Job come out successfully. Many of us won't come out successfully. So remember to like, share, comment on my little video that I did. Happy Sabbath to each and every one of you. Happy Sabbath. God bless and keep you all. Miss Bev Production, enough love and blessing every time. Happy Sabbath to you also. Sister Kate Dawkins, happy Sabbath. Auntie Pauline, enough love and blessing. Happy Sabbath to you all. Love and blessing to you all, my YouTube family. Have a safe and peaceful weekend. If you drive, don't drink, and if you drink, don't drive. And walk careful. Be good. And love God. Blessing upon blessing. Peace out. Life with Bev Brown said that. Enough love and blessing.